Hey guys, welcome back to MFO. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. We're getting to the time of year where it's time to make some New Year's resolutions, and today's episode is about asking you to make a resolution to fish in places that you're going to catch more fish next year. Meaning, I want you to get into thick, gnarly, nasty laydowns, tangled brush. I want you to not worry about losing lures and catch some big fish. We're going to talk about how and why when we come back. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. I said it in the opening. Fishing gnarly laydowns, brush piles, tangled webs of branches that go every which way. That is where big bass live. And I just come across too many of my buddies, too many people who, kind of talk to me about fishing. And when they get to those big laydowns, they troll right by them. They just don't fish them. They pick around the edges, and they're thankful when they throw a bait in along the edge and it doesn't get snagged, and they can quickly get out of there as soon as possible. Guys, you're passing up fish. And the reality is that this is an addiction, much like a topwater bait. When you throw a topwater bait and nothing happens, you go kind of, okay. I thought this was cool. And then the first time that bass blows up on that topwater, doesn't matter whether it's a frog or a buzz bait, whatever it is, you're like, oh man, this works. I love this. This is awesome. The same thing is true when you pitch a jig into a gnarly piece of cover, and you can actually feel that jig coming down and hitting branches as it goes through, and you kind of lift up on it and bring it down, lift up on it and bring it down, and all of a sudden it goes, and you set the hook, and now you're kind of working that bass out of those branches, and when that bass comes free and it's a giant, it's addicting. It's like, oh, let me get in there again. I want to do that again. But you have to get in there and try it, and you have to do it in the right way in order to experience that success and know that that's where you gotta be. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of making this resolution to fish that gnarly stuff and get in there and do it. Don't worry about losing baits. Lose some lures. Go ahead, lose some lures, okay? It doesn't matter if you've got the opportunity to catch a giant bass. Now take a look at some of this footage here. One of the things, when you're fishing this kind of stuff is, yes, you do want to start from the outside. You don't want to just necessarily go right into the center. You might as well pitch around, whether you're using a jig or whatever it is, whatever bait you're using to throw in, Texas rig, whatever. Go in and, pitch around the sides first. But once you do that, then go ahead and make some pitches into the center. Look at some of these fish that you're seeing here and how literally deep into that stuff they are. And they are very comfortable there. And when a bass is sitting there and extremely comfortable, and all of a sudden your jig comes right in its face, it's not going to have any problem taking a swipe at it and eating it. Now, when it comes to throwing jigs into that cover, this is when I will have a full weed guard on my jig, because it doesn't matter whether you're throwing a heavy jig like that or a lighter weight jig like this, but I'm still going to have that full weed guard on my jig. And then the other part to this is that you just have to fish these with some finesse. You literally want to feel that jig fall down, hit the branch, kind of scoot off, and then as you're lifting it up, when you come across some resistance, just kind of shake and move it so that it comes out, as opposed to setting the hook on a branch. You will feel when, if you're shaking that bait and something takes it, you'll know that, versus, hey, right now I'm hung up on just a limb that's coming out of there. So, be finessey from a standpoint of, don't, just be like, hey, every time it gets stuck, I'm jamming that hook into the branch. Be finessey around the branches, but don't be finessey in terms of, get into the deepest stuff. Try it, guys. Literally try it. At the end of the day, you go, hey, you know what? I lost 3 lures. At the end of the day, you know what? I caught X number of fish that I never would have caught any other time had I not fished that stuff. And quite honestly, I'm betting that you're also going to say, I've caught some of the biggest fish of the season by doing that, because that's where they live, guys. It's where they live, and we just avoid fishing it. So make that New Year's resolution. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you're planning on trying to do that. And if you have any other thoughts, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, the like button, the hype button, all of that stuff. Share it with a friend. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you again tomorrow on another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.